Good morning. Welcome to Kenya News Update today. I'm your host, and we have a packed 12-minute deep dive ahead. In today's edition, we're celebrating a major digital milestone for Kenya on the global stage, while also examining the complex economic pressures facing ordinary citizens. We'll debate what this moment means for the country's creative economy and its future. First, the headline: two Kenyans have been selected for TikTok's prestigious Global Discover list for 2026, ranking them among the 50 most influential creators worldwide. We'll introduce you to Trevor Wayre and Shay Riki Hato, explore the significance of their achievement, and analyze the data behind Kenya's growing digital footprint. Then, we pivot to the stark economic reality on the ground, where a new citizen-led push is demanding lower taxes and increased funding for critical sectors like health and food security. We'll break down the proposals from the Institute of Economic Affairs and hear contrasting views on fiscal policy from Treasury Cabinet Secretary John Mbadi. It's a story of soaring digital ambition grounded by pressing economic needs. Let's begin. Our top story is a cultural and economic victory. TikTok, the social media giant with over 2 billion monthly active users globally, has released its 2026 Global Discover list. This annual list highlights 50 rising creators from across the world who are shaping culture, trends, and conversations. The list is divided into 5 categories: educators, foodies, icons, innovators, and originators. For the first time, Kenya has not one, but 2 representatives on this exclusive global roster. They are Trevor Wayre, a 24-year-old comedian and skit creator from Nairobi, and Shay Riki Hato, a 27-year-old lifestyle and fashion influencer. Their inclusion places them alongside creators from the United States, Nigeria, Brazil, France, Indonesia, and Italy. This isn't just personal success. It's a landmark moment for Kenya's entire digital creative sector. To understand the scale of this achievement, consider the selection pool. While TikTok hasn't released exact application figures, industry analysts estimate that for a global platform of this size, the pool of creators considered for such a list runs into the hundreds of thousands, if not millions. Being chosen as one of 50 is an extraordinary feat. Let's look at some comparative metrics that highlight the competitive landscape of global social media influence. The recognition for Trevor and Shay Riki comes at a pivotal time for Kenya's digital economy. According to the Communications Authority of Kenya, the country had over 46 million internet users by the end of 2025, with a penetration rate of approximately 85%. Mobile data subscriptions surpassed 43 million. This connectivity forms the bedrock of the creator economy. A 2025 report by the Kenya Film Commission estimated that the digital content creation sector, including social media influencers, video production, and podcasting, contributed over 15 billion shillings to the national economy and supported more than 120,000 full-time and part-time jobs. The potential for growth is immense. However, this digital boom exists alongside significant economic challenges. This brings us to our second major story: the growing public demand for tax relief and better budget allocation. A recent survey conducted by the Institute of Economic Affairs, titled The Citizens' Alternative Budget, polled over 5,000 Kenyans across all 47 counties. The findings are a clear mandate for change. A staggering 92% of respondents identified the high cost of living as their primary concern. Following that, 87% called for increased funding for healthcare, 84% for agriculture and food security, and 79% for education. The survey presents a detailed picture of citizen priorities versus current government expenditure. Let's delve deeper into the tax proposal at the heart of this debate. The IEA's Citizens Budget specifically recommends that the government exempt all individuals earning a gross monthly salary of 30,000 shillings or less from pay as you earn, or PAYE, income tax. Currently, the tax band for monthly incomes between 24,001 shillings and 32,333 shillings is taxed at 25%. The argument is that removing this burden would immediately increase disposable income for millions of low-income earners, stimulating local consumption and providing a buffer against inflation. Proponents of the measure cite economic models suggesting this could inject an additional 45 billion shillings annually into the hands of consumers. However, this proposal faces stiff opposition from fiscal conservatives within the National Treasury. Their central argument is one of revenue loss. The Kenya Revenue Authority collected approximately 2.5 trillion shillings in the last financial year, with PAYE contributing a significant portion. Treasury officials, speaking on background, estimate that raising the tax-free threshold to 30,000 shillings could result in an annual revenue shortfall of between 80 billion and 120 billion shillings. In a budget already strained by debt servicing, which consumes over 50% of ordinary revenue, such a loss is seen as untenable without severe cuts to other programs. This sets up a fundamental debate: stimulus for the struggling majority versus fiscal stability for the state. We reached out to National Treasury Cabinet Secretary John Badi for comment. In a statement, his office acknowledged the public's concerns, but emphasized a path of gradual, responsible reform. The National Treasury is acutely aware of the economic pressures facing Kenyan households, the statement read. Our approach is to broaden the tax base to include more citizens in a fair and equitable manner, rather than simply foregoing existing revenue. We are reviewing all proposals, including those on tax bans, within the context of our medium-term revenue strategy and our commitments to reducing the budget deficit. The statement also highlighted ongoing efforts to digitize tax collection to improve efficiency and curb evasion. Critics, however, argue that this response is insufficient. Economist Dr. Wanjiku Mwangi, a lead researcher on the IEA report, told us, the government's priority seems to be revenue collection at all costs. But economics is not just about balancing books, it's about people. When you have 92% of your population citing the cost of living as a crisis, you need emergency measures. Raising the PAYE threshold is a direct, targeted intervention that would have an immediate positive impact on household welfare. The supposed revenue loss can be offset by cutting wasteful expenditure and aggressively pursuing tax evaders in the informal sector and among large corporations. This debate reflects a global tension, but with uniquely Kenyan dimensions. Returning to our digital success story, let's profile the two creators putting Kenya on the map. Trevor Wayre, known online as Trevor the Storyteller, has amassed a following of over 3.5 million on TikTok. His content revolves around relatable, humorous skits about everyday life in Kenya, from navigating Matatu culture and awkward family gatherings to the trials of being a young adult. His genius lies in his observational comedy and authentic portrayal of Kenyan, Swahili, and Sheng slang. Shairi Kihato, with 2.8 million followers, operates in the lifestyle and fashion niche. Her content is a blend of affordable style tips, skincare routines using locally available products, and vlogs about entrepreneurship. She has successfully partnered with both international brands like Samsung and local Kenyan businesses, demonstrating the commercial viability of her platform. Their success stories are not just about viral videos, they are case studies in modern entrepreneurship. Industry estimates suggest that top-tier Kenyan influencers like Trevor and Shairi can command between 500,000 and 2 million shillings for a single branded content partnership, depending on the scope and duration. For context, let's compare the potential earnings from digital influence against traditional career paths in Kenya. The juxtaposition of these two narratives, digital ascendancy and economic anxiety, presents a complex picture of Kenya in 2026. On one hand, the country is producing world-class digital talent that commands global attention and generates significant income. This sector is young, innovative, and operates largely outside traditional bureaucratic hurdles. On the other hand, the foundational economy that supports the majority of citizens, including the families and audiences of these creators, is under severe strain. The question becomes, can the success of a few in the digital sphere translate into broader economic opportunity? Some analysts believe it can. The creator economy is a powerful export, says tech analyst Mark O.T. Ano. Trevor and Shairi aren't just earning money, they are marketing Kenya's culture, creativity, and consumer market to the world. This attracts interest from global platforms and investors. It also creates downstream jobs in video editing, photography, marketing, and talent management. The government should see this as a strategic sector and create policies, including tax incentives for digital creatives and improved digital infrastructure, to nurture it. Others are more skeptical, viewing the influencer economy as a bubble that benefits a tiny, urban elite while distracting from systemic issues like unemployment, which officially stands at around 12%, but is believed to be much higher among the youth. This skepticism ties directly back to the tax debate. A common argument from those opposing the PAYE threshold raise is that it would disproportionately benefit formal sector employees, who are a minority, while doing nothing for the vast informal sector. They propose alternative measures, such as further subsidizing staple foods or increasing the cash transfer program for vulnerable households. However, proponents counter that putting more money in the pockets of formal low-income earners has a multiplier effect, as that money is spent immediately in the local informal economy, at Mama M. Boga stalls, local butcheries, and hair salons. It's a classic economic stimulus argument. To visualize the potential impact of redirecting funds, let's look at a comparison of proposed citizen spending priorities versus a sample of current discretionary government expenditures that often face criticism. As we conclude, we are left with two defining threads of the Kenyan story in February 2026. The first is one of celebration and potential. Trevor Wayre and Shay Riki Hato have broken through a global digital ceiling. Their success is a testament to Kenyan creativity, humor, and business acumen. It proves that with a smartphone and a unique voice, Kenyans can compete and win on the world's largest stages. This achievement should be championed and studied as a model for future economic diversification. The second thread is one of urgent pragmatism. The voices captured in the I.e., a survey are a powerful reminder that macroeconomic indicators and digital fame mean little if a family cannot afford adequate food, healthcare, or school fees. The debate over the 30,000 shilling a YE threshold is a microcosm of a larger struggle to define economic justice and fiscal responsibility in a young, ambitious, yet struggling nation. The path forward likely requires embracing both realities simultaneously. Fostering the high-growth digital sector through smart policy and investment, while also implementing bold, compassionate fiscal measures to relieve the burden on the majority. It's not an easy balance, but it is the essential work of nation building. The creativity that propelled two Kenyans into the global top 50 is the same ingenuity needed to solve the country's entrenched economic challenges. The world is watching, not just their TikTok feeds, but how Kenya navigates this critical juncture. For Kenya News Update today, this has been a 12-minute deep dive. We encourage you to continue this conversation. What do you think should be the priority, nurturing digital champions or providing immediate tax relief? Let us know. Subscribe to Kenya News Update today for more in-depth analysis. Thank you for watching.